Hey guys, let me just start off with an announcement that I actually made a Facebook page, and on that Facebook page you can keep track of, I'm going to post about what I'm doing for the next video, and I'll post and show when I upload a new video, so that's a good way to follow me if you're not really YouTubing that much. So if you want, I'll put a link. I'm gonna put a link down below so you can stalk me. All right. So first of all, I'm making this video as a note to myself for me to take notes and in my studies because it helps me learn. But you know, I'm a student, so if any of you watching have noticed that I made a mistake, please comment down below, and I'll fix it using annotations. So let's get started. Let's talk about how sounds are made. So there are like three major parts to making a sound. There's your lungs, there's your larynx, and there's your, I guess four, your oral and nasal cavity. And the lungs are simple, you know, you breathe in, breathe out, gives you air. The air passes through your larynx, and in your larynx there is the glottis and the vocal folds, also known as the vocal cords. The glottis is like a hole, and the vocal folds are on the sides, and as air goes through, they kind of just like flap and make sound, and this is what causes voicing, which is the difference between S and a Z. So if you quickly just like put your finger right here on your Adam's apple and make a sound versus a Z sound, you'll notice that there's vibration here. This area is also how you make the H sound and glottal stop. Glottal stop isn't that controlled in English, but it's the sound in between and o when you say uh-oh. This is also where pitch is controlled. So I actually have a little example thing. So you have this balloon, this is a lung, right? These are like the vocal folds, and this is the glottis, right? And so when you breathe, you just let air out, right? When you make voicing, what happens is the vocal folds are vibrating, and it makes sounds. The H is made when you have frication but no voicing. So like that again. You can have a glottal stop where you have air flow through and then you stop the air, like this. And pitch is controlled in three different ways: pressure, tenseness, and the length of the vocal fold. So here's an example of standard pressure air release. Now with more pressure. Now with tense and then now with length. And that's how you make a lot of your sound. That's like the basis of the sound. So the next section is in the oral and nasal cavities. I should have a mid-sagittal view here, which is pretty much your face cut in half like this. And these consonants are described by voicing, which we already described as the air and your vocal folds flapping. You have your place of articulation, whether the consonant is lateral or not, which doesn't really matter because there's only one example of it in English, and we don't need to worry about it. Whether it is nasal, and the manner of articulation. So, the places of articulation can be split up into 9 separate places. You got bilabial, labiodental, interdental or dental, alveolar, palatal, velar, pharyngeal, but you don't need to worry about that, and glottal. So bilabial is when you use both lips, like in p or b. You use both lips and p, right? Labial dental is when you connect the bottom lip to your top teeth, like f or v. To my knowledge, there isn't any sound where you move your front lip to your bottom teeth. But it's possible. Interdental, dental are sounds that are made when you push your tongue up to your teeth or in between your teeth. The most common, well, not the most common, but it's common sound in English are the TH sounds, like in this and 3, either or ether. The only difference between the two sounds are the voicing in the larynx. Alveolar is the rough part right after your teeth. Like if you put your tongue up and feel it, it's kind of like rough and hard. This is where T and D are made a lot of the times, especially in English. T, D, right? Palatal is kind of in the middle of your mouth, it's the palate, and English really just uses a palatal glide. Yeah. Velar is in the back of your mouth. This is where K and G are made. K, G. Pharyngeal doesn't really matter in this video because we don't use it in English, but it's located in between the oral cavity and the glottis. And we already talked about the glottis. That's where and are made. English only has 2 nasal consonants, N and M. What you do is you let air go through your nasal cavity, and there's actually not any air coming out of your mouth when you say those sounds. Okay, so the last thing is the manner of articulation. So there are a couple ways to articulate consonants, but the ones I'm really going to talk about are plosives, stops, fricatives, and affricates. So plosives or stops are when you stop airflow and release it all at once, like an explosion. And some examples are T and D. T is a voiceless alveolar stop, and D is a voiced alveolar stop. T, D. Fricatives are when you make an obstacle and let air hiss through. So it makes a hissing sound. They're very loud, like a S and Z. S and Z are also alveolar, so they're made in the same place as T and D. The difference being the manner of articulation. T, D, T, S. The last thing is an affricate, which is a combination of a stop and a fricative. In English, we use 2. We use ch and j, and ch is a combination of t, the alveolar stop, and sh, which is a different fricative. It's a post-alveolar palatal. It depends on how you want to say it, but it's right after the alveolar fricative. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about are vowels. When people show vowels on a graph, it's normally in not a quadrilateral, but like a 4-sided shape. And this is a chart for American English, and it's split into high, mid-high, mid-low, and low vowels. The tip is front of your mouth, and then that part, because it kind of looks like your mouth. All right. When you make vowels, your tongue moves in different places. And that's how it's articulated. And because I love myself and I love you guys, I'm going to demonstrate it with a lollipop. All right. So, E, the lowercase I, is in the front. U, the U, is in the back. So, E, U, E, U, E, U. Same thing can be done with E, O. E, O, E, O, E, O, E, O. As you can see the lollipop stick moving back and forth. And that's a very important part of how you form vowels. You also have lax and tense vowels. I'm not too understanding of the difference between lax and tense vowels, but what I think I know at least, is that lax vowels are shorter and tense vowels are last longer. Also, I don't know, maybe there's a difference in how your tongue feels when you do it, e, u, u. I don't know. E, u, u, u. No, I think it's only length. And that's how you do science. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this. I found out the new programming software, Kdenlive. I moved from OpenShot to Kdenlive, so tell me how you feel about this video, how it looks. I like the program a bit more, and I think it's better. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.